Okay, hi everyone, Daryl here. Okay, I'm just going to do this video, and this is explaining this new ruling that's going to come in force. Actually, has already been in force since 2017, but now currently there's this new requirement by the registrar, which is ACRA, and we all the while have been maintaining the registers of registrable controllers. We have been maintaining them in hard copies, but then now currently come July 2020, ACRA will have a new requirement, and the requirement is that all companies will need to lodge the registers of registrable controllers via the online BizFile Plus portal with ACRA. So which means that we have to submit it digitally via the online platform to the registrar, which is ACRA. Okay, so what you need to know, right? What's the register of registrable controllers? It is a document that lists all the controllers and beneficial owners of a company. So a controller is an individual or entity that has significant interest or significant control over the company. So these two things that you have to know. So you are a controller if you have significant interest or significant control over the company. Okay, what does significant interest and significant control entail? So what it means, right, for significant interest, it is an individual or entity that holds 25% or more of shares, or holds 25% or more of the total voting rights, or is a right to 25% or more of the total capital or profits of a company without share capital. Okay, so that means that if the person did not pay for the shares, or but yet he's still entitled to 25% of the profits, right? He has a significant interest in the company and he is deemed to be a registrable controller. Or if let's say the person uh, doesn't hold the shares, hold 25% of the shares, but due to some arrangement he has 25% or more of the total voting rights, then he also is a registrable controller. So significant control is determined as the individual or entity that can appoint or remove directors with a majority of voting rights. So if this individual, right, can influence the board of directors of a company, then that person has significant control. So if you hold more than 25% of the total voting rights or have significant influence or control over the company, then that individual is deemed to be a registrable controller under the significant control uh, definition. Okay, so if somebody is holding the shares in trust, but yet somebody is behind and controlling the individual who's holding the shares in trust for him, and then that person behind is actually wielding control over the company, then that person is a registrable controller. So ACRA actually comes up with these figures, right, of 25%, so that it's easy for us to administer. So we know clearly what do you mean by registrable controllers. Okay, is it new? It's not new. On 31st of March 2017, right, there were amendments made to the Companies Act. Then the amendment was that all companies need to maintain a register of registrable controllers. It's mandatory, so it's actually written inside the Companies Act. New companies, right, will have to maintain this register within 30 days from the date of incorporation. So you incorporate your company today, right, you have 30 days to set this up. And non-compliance, right, may result in a fine of up to $5,000. Okay, and what we have been doing, right, all the while, right, we have been maintaining the physical register of registrable controllers, which means a hard copy that is kept inside the company's file. Okay, so what do you need to do to fill up the register? You actually need to have all this required information. So if you find an individual that is a registrable controller, then you want to put it inside the register, right? Then you have to fill up all these. So you have to fill up your full name, alias, residential address, nationality, identity card or passport number, then date of birth, then the date on which the registrable individual controller became an individual controller of the company or foreign company, whichever the case may be. Then the date on which the registrable individual controller ceased to be an individual controller of the company or foreign company, as the case may be. So if let's say when he entered as a registrable controller, we need to update the register. Then once he ceases, right, he or she ceases, then we also need to update. So this is for corporate entities. That means that because for shareholders, you can either be an individual or an entity or a company. So if you are a local or foreign company, right, then you will need all these details, okay, which is okay, you can just read it off here first. Okay, but what happens, right? What's the change? Okay, so the change, right, is coming in July 2020. So we set a deadline of 1st July 2020 because ACRA, right, they were intending to implement this earlier in May 2020, but due to the COVID-19 partial shutdown, right, it was extended. So the information lodged, right, with ACRA will be accessible to public agencies in Singapore, such as law enforcement agencies. So a lot of people, right, like we have clients that they set up maybe nominee director or nominee shareholder structures because maybe to try to hide certain exposure. So maybe due to the sensitive nature of the work that they are in, they cannot be listed as the shareholder of a certain company because maybe the company that they are working in is in direct conflict with the company which they are a shareholder of. So they may ask someone to hold the shares in trust. And all these people, right, they are registrable controllers. So if you know somebody like for example, maybe you are working in a local bank, then after that you would like to start maybe a insurance brokerage, but maybe it's conflict of interest, so you have to get permission from your bank. But some people, what they do is that they say that, oh, maybe my relative or something like that holds the share for me, the shares of the company in trust. Then in this case, right, the relative is actually a nominee shareholder. Then that individual is actually the beneficial owner and the person who is wielding control over the company. So that individual is a registrable controller. Okay, not to worry, right? The members of the public will not be able to access the register of registrable controller information or purchase any extracts of these lodgements. So if we update the data, right, this register of registrable controller, right, the public cannot draw it out, and only government agencies, public agencies in Singapore and law enforcement agencies can pull out this register. Okay, then okay, so all companies, foreign companies and LLPs, right, are required to continue to maintain a register or register controller at the register office address. So the physical copy that we have in the company files, right, it will continue. Then for some of you guys, right, you are on the online portal, online platform. So we have the register or registrable controller in the online portal. So that portal also need to update. We need to have the physical copy if we kept the files in the office. If we have it in the online portal, right, then the online portal need to be updated together with the one on ACRA's BIS file. Okay, and if there are any changes, right, to the RORC, which is the Register or Registrable Controller, RORC information, right, then we need to update ACRA, the registrar within 2 days. Okay, so only authorized position holders of the business entity, as well as the RFAs, right, registered filing agents like ourselves, we can update this information. So if you're an officer of the company, like a director or secretary or partner of LLP, right, or registered filing agents like ourselves, right, we need the authorization from the business entity. Then we can lodge the RORC information with ACRA. Okay. So what will happen, right, is that because okay, I'm speaking on behalf of all three filing agents, Easily Private Limited, Little Big Secretary Services Private Limited, and A1 Accounting Private Limited. So for all our clients, right, we will assist the companies to comply with this regulation. But what we need, right, because we need your authorization, the company's authorization to lodge and update this RORC information on the company's behalf. Okay, so what we need, right, we will be actually sending you a document. It's in the form of a director's resolution to allow us, the registered filing agents, to update this RORC information on the company's behalf. Okay, so okay, remember non-compliance of this is $5,000 fine, maximum $5,000 fine. But I think it's pretty significant, because you can see that the registrar is trying to put in place trying to put in place some checks and balances, right, to circumvent money laundering or financing of terrorism. Yeah, so that's what we do. Because we essentially we take the trailer fee from our clients to maintain their corporate regulatory compliance. Then what we do is that if there are any new rulings by ACRA, then we will be handling all this compliance, and we'll be putting the company in order to comply with all these things, so that you guys don't get hit with a fine. Okay, can you say that you don't know that this regulation? No, you can't. If let's say you are managing the company on your own accord, right, then please go and do it properly. You can't say that I don't know about this, I never read about it. If you are a director, right, it's expected of the director to know how to run the company. If not, then he should always seek some professional advice, right, so that the company is always compliant. We expect that a lot of companies may not be aware of this new requirement. So if let's say you know of anybody who is a director of a company, or maybe anybody who's a shareholder of a company also, you should highlight this matter to them. It is delayed because of COVID-19, but it will not be cancelled, because come July, right, there will be a additional function for us to do this register. So please keep ahead of the rules and regulations. And if let's say you guys are a client of ours, right, we will be contacting you, and we'll be using the online portal, right, to send you out some notices so that we can comply with this. We seek your understanding to return us the resolutions signed, so that we can act on behalf of the company. Because if you guys don't authorize us, right, we can't do anything. So the best thing that I can do, right, is to explain this new ruling to everyone, so you guys understand the severity of it. Okay, I understand everyone wants to focus on business, but if let's say you fall foul of some regulation, right, then it's going to be quite time consuming to try to solve the problem. Okay, so that's all, right, and I'll see you in the next video.